Lee Child, a Jack Reacher novel, The Hard Way, read by Deep Voice Guy Johnny. Chapter 1. Jack Reacher ordered espresso, double, no pill, no cube, foam cup, no china, and before it arrived at his table, he saw a man's life change forever. Not that the waiter was slow, just that the move was slick. So slick, Reacher had no idea what he was watching. It was just an urban scene, repeated everywhere in the world a billion times a day. A guy unlocked the car, and got in, and drove away. That was all. But that was enough. The espresso had been close to perfect, so Reacher went back to the same cafe exactly 24 hours later. 2 nights in the same place was unusual for Reacher, but he figured great coffee was worth a change in his routine. The cafe was on the west side of the 6th Avenue in New York City, in the middle of the block between Bleecker and Houston. It occupied the ground floor of an undistinguished 4-story building. The upper stories looked like anonymous rental apartments. The cafe itself looked like a transplant from a back street in Rome. Inside it had low light and scared wooden walls, and a dented chrome machine as hot and long as a locomotive, and a counter. Outside there was a single line of metal tables on the sidewalk behind the low canvas screen. Reacher took the same end table he had used the night before and chose the same seat. He stretched out and got comfortable and tipped his chair up on 2 legs. That put his back against the cafe's outside wall and left him looking east, across the sidewalk and the width of the avenue. He liked to sit outside in the summer in New York City, especially at night. He liked the electric darkness and the hot, dirty air and the blast of noise and traffic and the manic barking sirens and the crush of people. It helped a lonely man feel connected and isolated both at the same time. He was served by the same waiter as the night before and ordered the same drink. Double espresso in a foam cup, no sugar, no spoon. He paid for it as soon as it arrived and left his change on the table. That way he could leave exactly when he wanted to without insulting the waiter or bilking the owner or stealing the china. Reacher always arranged the smallest details in his life so he could move on at a split second's notice. It was an obsessive habit. He owned nothing and carried nothing. Physically, he was a big man, but he cast a small shadow and left very little in his wake. He drank his coffee slowly and felt the night heat come up off the sidewalk. He watched cars and people, watched the taxis flow north and the garbage trucks pause at the curbs. Saw knots of strange young people heading for clubs. Watched girls who had once been boys tottered south. Saw a blue German sedan parked on the block. Watched a compact man in a gray suit get out and walk north. Watched him thread between 2 sidewalk tables and head inside to where the cafe staff was clustered in back. Watched him ask them questions. The guy was medium height, not young, not old, too solid to be called wiry, too slight to be called heavy. His hair was gray at the temples and cut short and neat. He kept himself balanced on the balls of his feet. His mouth didn't move much as he talked, but his eyes did. They flicked left and right tirelessly. The guy was about 40, Reacher guessed. And furthermore, Reacher guessed he had gotten to be about 40 by staying relentlessly aware of everything that was happening around him. Reacher had seen the same look in elite infantry veterans who had survived long jungle tours. Then Reacher's waiter turned suddenly and pointed straight at him. The compact man in the gray suit stared over. Reacher stared back. Over his shoulder, through the window, eye contact was made. Without breaking it, the man in the suit mouthed, "Thank you," to the waiter, and started back out the way he had entered. He stepped through the door and made a right inside the low canvas screen and threaded his way down to Reacher's table. Reacher let him stand there mute for a moment while he made up his mind, Then he said yes to him, like an answer, not a question. Yes, what? The guy said back. Yes, whatever, Richard said. Yes, I'm having a pleasant evening. Yes, you can join me. Yes, you can ask me whatever it is you want me to ask.